direct from the web, it's Billy Masters Live. And now, please welcome your host, Billy Masters.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Tuesday. What day is it? April 14th. You know, all the days roll together. When you're in quarantine, every day is Sunday. I actually am having trouble kind of focusing today. This is one of those weird days. I am in Boston, for those of you who don't know. Oh my God, I also should remind you who the fuck I am, because you're sitting here saying, who is he? He's Billy Masters from billymasters.com, all over the web, everywhere you go. Don't try to read me in a gay newspaper, because no gay newspapers are publishing right now. Go to them online. I cannot stress it enough. Support whatever businesses you can that you won't get sick supporting. You know, go to them online. If you are comfortable with takeout from restaurants you know supports them, because when we come out of this, we'd like to have some businesses still here. So, today, you know, I usually begin with a little celebrity anecdote, and I was looking through pictures and I found a very strange photo. So this is a photo of me and famed celebrity attorney and barracuda, Gloria Allred. Now, Gloria Allred and I were seated together at some big event, and I don't really remember what the event was. I remember it was in Brentwood, and I remember I was hosting a portion of it. That's all I remember. She didn't know who I was. We had chatted. I was totally pleasant sitting with her one-on-one, and then I started getting up on stage, and you give me a mic, and well, things happen. And I went on, and I played with the audience in that way that I have. And at the end of my set, I sat down next to Gloria, and she had a business card in her hand, and she handed it to me, and she said, "Billy, hold on to this. I have a feeling someday you're going to need it." And so years later, I'd forgot about it. I thought it was funny, although I did program her in my phone. And years later, one of the years I was hosting LA Pride, all of a sudden, who showed up backstage but Gloria Allred, who came over to me very excited to see me after, this had been maybe 5 years later. And I dipped her. I dipped Gloria Allred. I didn't get anywhere near that barracuda daughter of hers. I wish somebody would do some genetic testing on them. Anyway, that's the little anecdote for today. Short, succinct, to the point. Before I get to our first guest, let me tell you who's coming up. This Thursday, I am very excited. I'm excited about all these shows. So far, every show, not a clinker in the group. That's because everybody who's been on is a friend of mine. Thursday, we have quite a special guest. This is this Thursday, April 16th, Fran Drescher for the whole hour. She has the season finale of her sitcom Broke on Thursday night. And who would she have do the season finale interview? Moi. That's who. She will also be joined by her gay ex-husband, the very sexy Peter Mark Jacobson. So you will not want to miss that. And we will take questions throughout the show, maybe at the end. Sometimes I'm not in the mood for throughout the show. And on Tuesday next week, since you've all been asking, finally, one of my best friends in the whole world, Jennifer Lewis, will be here again for the full hour. So you are not going to miss that. But today's show is a Provincetown, what will we call it? A P-Town Palooza. These are two people who are amazing performers who I've known for years. And aside from playing around the world, they play in Provincetown most summers. And God willing, we will be back in Provincetown this year. The first guest, now I don't know a lot about her. And so this is a really good opportunity for me to figure out really what makes Varla Jean Merman tick. So ladies and gentlemen, from her sumptuous one-bedroom rent-controlled apartment in Fort Lauderdale, Miss Varla Jean Merman.
Oh, Billy, hello. Cheers, honey. Cheers. Good morning.
Drunk already. Well, you know, it's happy hour somewhere.
Well, no, the problem is now there's nothing stopping me from drinking. Usually I have to drive or something. I was like, whoa, 3's enough. But not today. I've had
Three.
I'm such a big girl. It's probably just like 1 for you.
Thank you. God love you. We're at now. You are in Fort Lauderdale, correct?
I am in Fort Lauderdale, and the coincidence is during this, I was supposed to have a hip replacement because that's what you do in Fort Lauderdale. And I can't have a hip replacement until after now the summer, so September 14th. So I'm gonna. I don't know what I'm gonna do.
You know how many old hips are gonna be before you?
You know how many old hips I've had before me.
So, I love you. Who is Varla Jean Merman? Where did you come from?
Well, I am the illegitimate daughter of Ethel Merman and Ernest Borgnine, Billy, who were married for 38 days.
Yeah. And I think Ernest Borgnine was on McHale's Navy, if I'm correct.
Yes, and he was on, Marty. Was that the show Marty?
No, Marty was the film, and I think he won an Oscar, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, see, the acting in the blood.
And I look at you and you bear a striking resemblance to his second wife, Tova Borgnine.
I do. And actually, I have my daddy's hairy bag. But honestly, I don't really talk about them very much, ever since the cease and desist.
And where were you raised? Because I don't believe you were raised with either of them.
Well, no, because their marriage was so short and so painful. After Mama got pregnant, I was shipped off to an orphanage outside of New Orleans, and that's why I resided there for most of my life.
And no contact with either parent?
No, they're dead.
Well, I believe you did. You performed The Medium.
I did. I was in Minotti's opera, The Medium. It was really the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Boy, I'll never do that again. I'll tell you right now.
Well, I look at you and you don't scream out medium. Extra large, maybe, but not medium.
That's my joke.
Well, I got there first. Fuck you. And
I keep my eyes open.
I know, now that has been the problem I think it too. That has been the biggest problem, is keeping our eyes open and looking at the camera and saying,
yes. Well, see, I like to look at myself. I like to look at myself. And I got to look up here. I got to look up here. Eyes up. Eyes up.
Eyes up. Now, you've been playing Provincetown for how long?
This will be my 22nd summer, Billy. 22nd summer.
And you're still hoping to make it.
Yes, I've been going to Provincetown since Jesus was in pigtails. That's really I've been there since, my God. I mean, and when I got there, I remember the first summer that I was there, 1998, I roomed with Jimmy James because we knew each other from New York City. And Jimmy was such a doll to me and really showed me the ropes and showed me what to do, what not to do. It was such an amazing time. But why was I bringing up that story? But when I lived with Jimmy James, I thought he had been there 13 years. And I thought, I'll never be here that long. I'm still there, and he's not.
Well,
he has.
I remember you and I talking to another group down there who shall remain nameless, and we like them very much, but I don't want to mention their names. But they had said after like 3 or 4 years, oh my God, I hope we're not here as long as X, Y, or Z. And meanwhile, they don't realize what a lucky gig that is.
Oh, no. Are you kidding? Well, first of all, I love Provincetown. I love the city. I love the tourists. I love it so much. And
the tourists? You love the tourists?
I do. I do.
Why?
I love the fact, I'm from New Orleans, and so, bars never close. A lot of bars in New Orleans don't even have a lock on the door because they never have ever closed. During Katrina, people finally put locks on the doors because they had to close. They didn't have locks on the doors.
I didn't know.
And so Provincetown, I love because it's only open till 1, so you can't get into that much trouble, Billy. And then you can enjoy the day, which is something I've never really managed to do anywhere else.
And of course, you do get all the sailors in what were you saying, darling?
I did wake up early today for you.
Well, this is how you wake up. I have seen you in the morning. But I know you love Provincetown. Lots of sailors and seamen.
Yes. It's an eclectic little fishing village teeming with seamen.
Yes. But now I believe there is some news. I believe Varla is no longer a single gal.
No, I got married. Can you believe it?
That's almost attractive.
It's a copy of Liz Taylor's ring. Can you believe it?
It's gorgeous.
I did get married, and that's why I'm in Fort Lauderdale. And let me tell you, I love New Orleans, but my house in New Orleans, I don't have a view or anything. All the houses are very close together. And here in Fort Lauderdale, we're on the water. And I feel bad because it's not bad being quarantined. It's like house arrest without the FOMO, because no one else is doing anything that you're like, oh, I wish I was there. No, you're just home. And the house is so beautiful, and I can work out outside on the water, and we have a big puppy dog. And so it's not too bad. I have to say it's not too bad.
Well, the good thing about Fort Lauderdale is most people who live there are in quarantine normally anyway, so no change.
People don't leave the house, but I am limping now because I need that hip replacement. Oh my God.
So are you saying that this summer's show you will be limping?
Oh yes, I think I'm just going to do Quasimodo for the whole, do a whole Quasimodo show. Well, because I was supposed to have it done now, like a couple weeks ago, and I couldn't get it done. And now there's so much backlog, and they don't know when. So you don't want to schedule it, because if you get scheduled and they cancel, then they have to schedule you again. So I thought September would be safe. Let's pray to God.
Well, and again, really, right now, would you want to be in a hospital?
No. Although I did have to go to New Orleans yesterday because I had to deal with my house there and do some things, and I had to sign some papers. And so my friend picked me up at the airport. We both had masks on. I went to the house. I signed the papers with the notary. Came over. I went right back to the airport. I didn't see anyone. And Ryan Landry from Provincetown lives there, and I have some friends there, but you can't see anyone. So I literally got off the plane, signed the papers, got back on, and got back here to Fort Lauderdale.
So now you're the first person I've talked to on the show who has flown lately. How was that? First off, how was the load?
There were 2 people on the flight from here to Atlanta. And then I think there were 4 people on the flight from Atlanta to New Orleans. And then on the flight back, there's probably 6 people. That's it. There was
wow.
And airports are so creepy because there's no businesses open. None of the restaurants are open. And even on the plane, you don't get any beverage service, nothing.
And no one to sleep with.
No, there is no one. It would have been a perfect time for the Mile High Club, except for that virus.
Well, really in our lives, we've dealt with so much worse.
Are you?
And isn't it, I was thinking, I spoke to Cheryl Lee Ralph last week, and we were talking about the similarities between what we as gay people lived through in, say, the 80s.
Right.
And this, and how when we're hearing people say, oh, I'm positive. And it's just, it's almost like PTSD, really.
Well, I have a friend who's a nurse, and, he has a tight group of friends, and they were still seeing each other. But then his friends got so panicked about him, and because I don't want to be anywhere near him, and so he just feels like no one, and he's a healthcare person, he's a nurse, but no one will go near him. Do you understand how horrible that is? And this is what he wanted to do with his life, and we're so grateful to have people who go to work every day knowing that no one wants to be around them when they get off. I mean, can you imagine? I mean, it's just and it's so much.
Most people don't want to be around me when I get off.
Fine. I'm telling you, my life is not that different. Now it's not. I mean, I don't really, I'm not working, but I work I would do weekends and stuff. So I mean, I'm used to being home during the week, and besides not having the fine dining or the cocktail hour, it's exactly the same. I'm telling you.
Now, have you and the husband got tired of each other? A lot of marriages are either thriving or on shaky ground during this.
We laugh in the middle of the night. If I go to the bathroom and get back to bed, I'll start singing annoyingly to him, or he starts singing to me in the middle of the night. We're fine. I mean, there are definitely moments, where I get the eye roll or whatever, and then I'd lash out. But not too many. I mean, that's pretty good. And we're able to. I like to go out in the backyard and just. I'll spend all day back there. And he's watching Ozark right now, and it's too dark for me. It's too dark. I can't watch that right now. Have you seen Ozark?
I have not. No, and I like everyone in it, but it just doesn't seem like my kind of show.
It's not my type. It's even The Handmaid's Tale. I started watching it. I was like, oh, brother, this is not the time to watch that.
If they had some songs and dances in there, they'd have a hit.
Jazz hand. Yes, but no, unfortunately, no. So I'm not watching anything like I did watch The Tiger King, though, because I just felt like I was in on the joke. I did. I had to. And
did you care?
It's light entertainment because it's just so preposterous. And I just find it so interesting that the Tiger King guy, the Joe Exotic, even though he's a criminal and was trying to kill someone, he's likable. He's the likable one that Carol Baskin, everyone hates her, which is so funny because on paper, she's like the good one. But, anyway.
Sometimes we root for the bad boys.
We do. Sometimes we root for the meth head.
Yeah, well. They are our friends, after
There's
all.
no teeth. In fact, when I wore these teeth, somebody said what's his name? Joe, I can't remember. Was Joe Finley?
Nice take. Oh, how pretty.
I have all my props right here. Ooh, fried chicken.
Oh, do you have the Cheese Whiz?
Yeah. No Cheese Whiz has been replaced by this. And of course. And I do have Advil here, the secret killer. The secret killer. Oh. I gotta get the Advil. Can't stay. I'm going insane. I gotta get out of here. Please get me out of here.
I know. You're starting to sound like you're in a hostage video.
Yeah, and we were planning on going on a cruise in January, but now I'm thinking
a death trap.
Yeah, etc. But also, you're in a confined space. I don't think I want to be in confined spaces anymore.
With somebody coughing and hacking. So, we had talked. Have a little nausea time. I would. What is that?
Oh, just a PVC pipe.
Oh well, you never know. Those lonely nights when the husband's asleep and he wonders why you're singing.
Yeah, I
know. I had shoulder surgery, rotator cuff surgery, as you know, and you were supposed to have your hip surgery, I think, a week or two after.
You were so lucky you got in.
The last day of non-essential surgeries, but I will tell you, because we didn't know anything, as we still don't, and surgery, you have to be there at like 6 a.m, some ungodly hour that we don't normally see. No, and my doctor comes in coughing and sniffling, and I'm like, I am a dead woman. But thank God I got it done. Like you said.
You're still alive. And where are you? Where are you?
I'm up in Boston. I was down in Florida the week before this happened. I was one of those stupid queens who went to the winter party. I know. Look, I'm sorry. But I didn't do anything.
They had the roundup too. They had the big AA roundup. I think the next weekend. I mean,
yep. Oh. No, it was, and they had some of the music festivals going on. Everything else started getting canceled. And the winter party, though, I'll say, I only went to the VIP reception, which was very small, and one of the big events. But usually, I'll be in the middle of the dance floor. I was just on the sides watching because who knew? So thank God.
I know I did Mardi Gras, so, and they're saying under Mardi Gras, and I made all these jokes about, because people catch beads. Well, all the beads are made in China. So I made all these jokes like, you're catching the coronavirus. And they were.
How did you feel about Mardi Gras going on? Did you think that it should have been canceled? Not now.
When Mardi Gras happened, it was not so bad because that was like the 23rd of February. It was not so bad. And it wasn't till even we were doing the First Wives Fight Club that Peaches and I wrote. We were doing a production here in Fort Lauderdale on the 21st of March. And about a week before, we started thinking, oh, my God, we got to cancel. Because I saw Miss Richfield 2 weeks before that. So the 10th or something like that here in Florida. Right. And it was fine. And people were still making fun of it. They, people hadn't really, it hadn't sunk in that it was going to stop the entire world. And so we were talking, I guess we better cancel First Wives Club. Well, thank God we did, because by that week, the shit hit the proverbial fan. And so it happened so quickly. I know, so that was my last gig was actually in New Orleans. I did my show on the 28th of February, and that was really my last thing.
Well, I had Marilyn May on last week, but well, this is the funny thing. I had Marilyn May on, who of course we spend time with always in Provincetown, and it was her birthday, and she's like, "Well, I hope I'm going to be able to make it to Provincetown," but who knows? We don't know anything.
Well, we're planning like it's going to open, but let me tell you, being a writer and a comedian, you just can't go into the summer. And thank God I didn't write my show, because you just can't go into doing the show. I know. I never write it. I don't have a date, so I can't start. Shut up. But I was writing a show about rewarding bad behavior, and that was what the whole show is about. I want to be evil, all this stuff, rewarding bad behavior, because it's the election year, and as we know, nice people don't get television shows. People who flip tables and grab them by the pussy get TV. So I thought it was a great idea, and then I could work it all into the politics of the year. But now, who cares? No one cares. You have to slightly relate to this and bring it to another place. I mean, really, you just can't go back to comedy about airline food. It's just no one cares. I'm still doing my column every week at billymasters.com. Look at the little scroll, and the first couple weeks were like talking about what's canceled, who's sick, who's dead. I'm like, what? There's not a lot to make laughs about. No.
And now slowly, at least, there seems to be some normalcy in quarantine, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Maybe we're used to it. I don't know.
Well, when I did Mardi Gras and I did a big a costume contest, I've done it for many years, right on Bourbon Street, right around and I made so many Corona jokes. Now, if somebody had that filmed and played now, my career will be over. Because at the time it didn't seem serious. It did not seem serious. I mean, as well, we know, other people called it a Democratic hoax and all of that. It definitely changed. And so I have no idea what I'm doing this summer.
Here's a good question. Would you, if you had a show tonight, would you make a Corona joke?
I think now the thing is that it's not so much about the virus, it's about the quarantining and those kind of things that relate. I mean, when people are dying of something, it's not funny till a little later. It's just, unfortunately, that's how it works. You know what I mean? And you can't right now. You just can't. I mean, I think of all the jokes that I've done. I remember years ago, we did an all white Gone with the Wind.
Oh my God.
And at the time, people thought it was hysterical. And we didn't call it the all white. It just happened. Everybody was all white. And, at the time it was funny, and it was funny, but the times change. And then you realize, oh, wait a minute. And it wasn't like, Carol Burnett did an all white Gone with the Wind. Do you remember on the Carol Burnett show? They went with the wind.
Vicky with Prissy. Yep.
Timing with comedy is everything. I mean, it's everything. And so it's really hard to know what to write right now to do the summer, because I don't know where this is going.
Right.
Or so it's hard to know the tone of what to write. I mean, quarantining and the things that happen there. I mean, I can't wait to hear Judy, because Judy already has so much great material about her wife and her kids, like being cooped up together when it's not a quarantine. So I can't wait to hear Judy Gold.
But now, you mentioned the all white Gone with the Wind. Was it 2 years or 3 years ago that you did a little white music?
Yes, I did a little white music, and that was I couldn't even do that nowadays. I mean,
that's what I'm wondering. Yeah.
And that was making fun of, at the time, just how, white people have, I mean, like Jesus wasn't white, you know what I mean? He was from the Middle East. Do you know what I mean? It's like just so interesting. And the whole show is about how white people have sort of made the world white for themselves. I mean, it was a comment on that. Now, the title itself now, I guess, would be offensive, but the show wasn't. The show wasn't offensive at all. But like I say, I'm like, oh, dear God, anybody could pull up anything I did previously, and my career would be over, even though it is anyway.
But do you care about offending people? You've never seemed like you mind.
Well, I don't mind being offended if it's for a point. Now, there is definitely a way to offend people by, and I've had to deal with that lately. Seeing some jokes online where people just have totally freaked out other people because I know when to not go to a joke. I know when it's too much. I mean, which is so funny because, when you do a roast, you can say anything you want to, and roast humor is different. But if someone takes that roast humor and puts it online, you can get in very big trouble. So, I mean, it's really...
It's funny you mentioned that because I had hosted LA Pride for, I think, 7 years in a row with Mama, big drag diva in LA. Whose birthday is today. Hello, Mama. Happy birthday.
Yeah.
And,
happy birthday.
And so Mama had a roast planned as a fundraiser, roasting her. And she asked me to be on the dais. And I said, fine. And I wrote some really scathing, horrible, nasty things about Mama. And I was going to be
nothing better than roast humor. It's the best.
Oh, I love it. But everybody who came before me didn't understand what the roast was. And they did a testimonial.
Oh, no.
And I am sitting there in the audience saying, I am going to be crucified. And you have to make a decision. What do you do? Do you go for it or do you join in? And I decided I was going to go for it and stand by my material and and I heckled the audience and said, it's a roast, people. Go and get a dictionary. Figure it out.
Well, I did a roast of Sister Roma in San Francisco and it was with Helena and Jackie Beat and Sherry Vine. And let me tell you, there was no topic. And Peaches, there was no topic that you couldn't go to. I mean, anything. And it's actually very freeing because,
I love it.
Well, it's like Bianca Del Rio kind of always does roast humor. And she gets away with it because people know that's what they're going to see. That's her persona. Yeah. That's your thing. But I couldn't. Oh, my God. I wrote some I'll tell you later.
Oh, my God.
About that.
Speaking of getting into trouble, Varla Jean and the Mushroom Heads.
Yes.
Scandalous. Denounced by the National Teachers Association, the Catholic Church, and Bob Guccione.
Yes.
What went wrong?
Well, that was
a children's show.
My documentary about my children's show, Varla Jean and the Mushroom Heads, which is available on DVD. Just message me online. I'll send you a copy because right now they're just coasters at my house. But it was about my TV show. And, it didn't get picked up, Billy. That's really the gist.
What was the misstep there? Was it the Mushroom Heads themselves?
Yes, it was the Mushroom Heads.
Because there, if I'm not mistaken, there was a class action suit against you by NALP, NALP, the National Association of Little People.
Yeah.
What happened?
Well, they weren't little people. They were just smaller than usual humans.
Well, smaller than you is not really very little.
Yes, anyone is next to me. What's so funny, I'll do a show and people afterwards will be like, oh my God, you're huge. Because if you're alone on stage, no one knows how big you are.
That's true.
Another way works. Judy, and I literally was shorter than Judy. I'm still like a football player compared to her, but she's more basketball. Judy and I do a fun show together. I hope you come see it. We were supposed to do it, I think, this weekend, right? I think it may have been.
She's nodding.
Next weekend. Yeah, we were supposed to do a show together, and we did it in Boston. We had so much fun, and because we both played clarinet in the high school band, and so we do a whole clarinet opener. And I guess we're supposed to do it all summer, so maybe we'll get to still do it. So maybe.
Well, since we're talking about her, we will say basically from her sickbed. I have to say because Judy is such a trooper. She is not feeling well. She'll tell us all about it. But let's bring her in, Miss Judy Gold. Hello, my darling.
Hi. Look how awful I look.
No, you don't.
Wait, let's look at Judy in full screen.
No, let's not. Let's not, Billy. I'm in Provincetown, by the way.
Is that where you are?
Yeah, I've been here. Oh God. I was all ready to wash my hair and put on a little makeup, but I had to go to Wellfleet to get tested for coronavirus this morning.
So do you really think you have it?
it's like, who the fuck knows? It's like,
Yeah.
I talked to one doctor who thinks I have it and one doctor who doesn't think I
You're being
have
Lysoled by Miss Varla.
it.
Oh,
but-
Judy.
Sorry.
That's all right.
God. If anyone was questioning whether or not I was a dyke. Okay. Anyway,
You know, with
yeah,
the
so
hat
I'm in
on,
Provincetown.
with the hat on, you bear a striking resemblance to Tom Hanks. now it's like Rita Wilson, but all right.
Oh God. But yeah, so I'm in Provincetown and I've been here over about a month and a week, so 5 weeks or so, and it's so much better. I mean, I feel bad I'm not in New York because I want to be there at 7 o'clock to to clap and scream. Right. But I mean, we've been going hiking, and there's the beach, and it's just, yeah, and I have space here. And I obviously haven't dyed my hair. And they have food, like you can get food curbside.
The places are open?
Oh, yeah. So we've been eating I'm just trying to do something with my hair. So we've been eating, it's great, isn't it? We've been eating at Liz's, Fanisi's. Oh my God, you got me so fucking addicted. You and Mark.
Chicken wings. Oh my God. Boneless chicken tenders. So
oh my God. Great. They are fucking. And do you know they have cauliflower ones too?
No, I did not.
Oh,
yes.
I didn't know that.
Yes. Yeah. So, and what else is open? Canteen.
I hear that the Stop and Shop in P-Town is really not particularly well stocked. It depends on when you hit it.
Right. So sometimes you go, there's nothing in it, and then sometimes. And Elisa went and got food. Elisa got food. She went shopping last night, and the whole deli is grab and go instead of talking to that guy who doesn't shut the fuck up at the counter. Have you ever gotten fucking deli stuff and he's like, "Hey, I'm like, shut the fuck up. I want to get the fuck out of here." And he's slow. And he's like, "Hey, would you like to try a slice?" No, I want you to fucking hurry up. Anyway, but everyone is wearing masks. Everyone's really good. I think there's a group of people here who are resentful of, New Yorkers and others coming. But,
like, are people like, do they give you the cold shoulder if they see
they're not excited. I have a New York license plate, but you know what? Fuck that. I've lived here since 1994, and I spend a lot of time here. I don't just come in the summer. I'm here all the time. I come here, I have a book coming out in July. I wrote it all here last year. Anyway, we went hiking the other day, and we're riding our bikes. And there's people are walking and people going to Beach Forest or through the bike, the bicycle, the dune.
The trails.
Yeah. And so we're riding our bikes and this woman is walking and she's like, first of all, we had masks on. It's like, shut the fuck up.
Right.
It's like, no one's trying to get you sick. You know that fucking... You know what I'm talking about with that shitty attitude of like, I'm a woman and I.
Yeah, that's not going to work with you.
No. It's just that it's like, stop. Everyone, no one's trying to hurt you. You know what I mean?
There are a lot of people who are very militant this time around.
Yes.
And crazed. Like, it's funny. Even if it doesn't affect them, even if you're nowhere near them, they want to tell you what to do.
Right.
And I find it very odd. And then I'm doing it for your benefit, but who asked you?
Also, the isolation thing must be hard for people who are miserable anyway. That, that they're forced to stay home and be miserable, Oh,
I'm so happy.
Right?
I realize I live my life in self-quarantine. I really
there's something I have been saying that there's, for people in our business, I think we're more emotionally well equipped to deal with this because we're so used to the unpredictability, not knowing where our next gig is coming from, not knowing where our next dollar is coming from. So I think we all have the tools, but it's like, I was listening to Varla, and it's like, our summer, first of all, anyone who's like, oh, I hope I'm not working in Provincetown is a fucking asshole, because
you are so lucky.
The greatest gig ever.
You
get to be in the most beautiful place with gays and gays and trans and what, it's just artists, and it's the most, it's my happiest time.
Yes.
It's so great. And the audiences are great. And I don't know. Anyone who fucking complains about working in Provincetown should kill themselves. But
it's funny, Varla and you have a podcast, Judy. What's the name of the podcast?
Kill Me Now.
Thank you. And Varla had been on how long ago, Varla?
That was last year.
Last summer, yeah, in July or August.
I remember listening to it, and you were talking about performing in Provincetown, and Varla had brought up that gay men don't really support gay male comics. They, and Judy brought up Funny Gay Males and Bob Smith, who of course were the exception because they were such a breakout group.
Right.
But I found it as well. I don't play Provincetown anymore. I go to patronize everyone, but the gay men want to either see the drag queens or the lesbians.
Right.
And I think that's very great.
Some of them don't want to be, but there's a lot who don't even want to see the lesbians, Oh,
really? Do you find that?
Yeah. And there's a lot of lesbians who don't want to see the lesbians.
So that was my question.
People want to see the old drags. I mean, people want to see.
Well, right.
That was actually the question I was getting to. Do you guys get the same thing? I find the gay men don't want to see gay men. So, Judy, you're obviously saying that there is a segment of lesbians who won't support or go to see another lesbian.
Well, I just think that there's a sort of very how can I say this without alienating everyone?
Not everybody. Go ahead.
No, but it's like there are these very all right. So, I was listening to everything that you were talking about how things are going to age, as far as Corona jokes are concerned, and what's okay to say now and what was okay to say then, which is all my book is all about that. It's called Yes, I Can Say That. And it's about freedom of speech from the perspective of a comedian. And so, there's this whole new politically correct, I'm going to get insulted and triggered and microaggression and crybaby bullshit that's going on. And it's killing comedy. And people don't listen to the intent of the performer or the joke. They don't listen to the full context. They don't nuance is like gone.
Delivery.
Right. And it's like, oh, I heard a word I don't like, so I'm not going to listen to the rest of the joke. And there are some people who are just so close-minded that, there's nothing you can do. But there are, I noticed when I come for Women's Week, there are some lesbians who love coming to see me. But then there's, of course, I was insulted. But, that comes with straight people too. But rarely, I think if never have I had a gay man say, oh, I was insulted. Ever. It's like, stop taking yourself so fucking seriously. And stop, being a victim. Stop being a fucking victim. We're all, no one has it great. I mean,
why do you think that is now? Why do you think that people just get offended and don't listen? Why do you think that has happened now?
I think that it's, first of all, I think it's young. I don't think it's gays our age, the way we talk to each other and what we've been through together. We can call each other fag and dyke and whatever the fuck else, rug muncher. And
you cannot insult us.
Huh?
You can't insult us.
It's like, impossible. that's our verbiage. That's what the way we have always spoken to each other, And I think because these young they're young and they didn't live through the AIDS crisis. They're coming out of the closet and their parents are like, oh, that's so wonderful. You know, and the shit that we have been through as a community, and also the fact that we had to be in the closet for so long and play pretend so that, you know, we could have, think about when you were kids. Did you ever think you would be able to marry someone? No,
never.
It was never. Or that you
couldn't believe it.
Huh?
When it actually happened, I still couldn't believe it. No.
But it's you know, it's like they have nothing to fight except, you know, that's bad. This whole book that I wrote came out of these colleges because none of the comics will play colleges anymore because they have these. Do. No, I don't.
You're not playing colleges? Because I know college kids love you.
Oh, well, tell their fucking bookers that.
Why college boys to love me?
No, it's not going to happen, Varla.
No, sorry, that ship has sailed.
But do I have something in my teeth?
We can't get close enough. I don't think so.
Yeah, it was a piece of matzah.
You Jews.
We just had matzah brie. Anyway, no, but it's like these young people are like, it's like they're that's their thing. It's like, oh, don't say this word and this, it's like you don't own the word. There's Elisa right there, and she's going on a bike ride. Everyone's saying hi.
Hello.
Varla says hi.
Hi, Varla.
Hi. Hello.
So
I think it's also partially because they feel that by hearing things that we would say is like, oh, well, that's your generation. It's
well, yeah.
dismissive.
Oh, yeah. It's like that whole okay boomer thing. It's like, you know what? Fuck you. We have lived on this earth a long time, and we've been through a lot. I mean, look, when I was their age, look, when we were all their age, what were we doing? We were watching our friends fucking die.
Right. And we looked to the older people for guidance. At least I did.
And we never forgot where we came from. And like the people who, like the Harvey Milks, you know, and all these people who were out before us, like, you know, like Bob, like the funny gay males, like Kate Clinton, like Leah Delaria, like Suzanne Westenhofer, like Frank Maya. I mean, there were Kate Clinton, so many people who were fearless in the height of this AIDS epidemic, getting on stage and making jokes, which is the most disarming thing you can do, is make people laugh, which is why it's so powerful. But
especially during an epidemic.
Right. And
that goes to the question I asked Varla. Would you make jokes today about coronavirus?
Absolutely.
I thought you would.
I mean, first of all, I'm against any sort of censorship, but of course, you can't be a good comic unless you're dealing with what's in the zeitgeist and what is, you know, you're a social commentator. Like all of Varla's shows are fucking brilliant because there's a theme, and the theme is always like you get to the end of that show and you're like, wow, everything made so much sense. Everything came together. And like last summer's show was about social media, and it was fucking brilliant, and everyone could relate to it because everyone's living in this fucking world of social media. But it's like, God only knows what we're going to talk about now. This social distancing, how you can't fucking hug people, where some people I was like, good, I don't want to fucking hug you. And there's so many people that already stood too close to me. And I was like, you're in my you know, those people who are always in your personal space. You're like, oh. But
I'm one of those people.
But it's like, you know, the way we live is going to completely change, but like, we don't know how. That's what's so fucking weird. And like, when we perform this summer, is it going to be every other seat?
That's what I was thinking too. And I thought, at the art house, we're going to have everybody, and not just front ways, but back ways too.
Right.
So, I mean, so we'll sell 30 tickets. I mean, it's very,
Right. And then you can say I sold out. That's the only good thing.
But I think, Judy, what you were saying about how we don't know how it's going to change, I think I've always felt that performers lead that way.
Right.
I think that it will change based on how we make it normal. Whatever your normal is, people who follow you are going to follow that. Your voice is louder as a performer than most people.
Right. But it's also, I'm sorry, go ahead, Varla.
Oh, no. Judy, are you writing like crazy? Because you have so much great material about your wife and your kids and their behavior. I know they must be driving you out of your mind right now.
Okay, I want to kill. I haven't, you made me want to write so much, but I've been so sick that I've been like, oh, wait, I've never had this opportunity to like binge watch. Like I have never been home at night. Like, It's so weird. We have dinner and then it's like,
I've never seen anything.
Right. And I'm like, oh, we get to sit on the couch and watch movie or binge watch something. I'm like, this is what normal, like it's so fucking weird. Like I'm not eating dinner and then running out to go do a set. It's so, so I've kind of been trying to live that and be like, okay. But now the money's going. And now I'm like, it's horrible.
Yeah.
Like it's
I
not.
have friends. Go ahead.
No, I just want to say there's so many fucking like fundraisers, and they're like, "Can you do a fundraiser?" I'm like, "I need the money. I need the fucking money." And you can't. You're so embarrassed to even say it. It's because
let me add because. We Judy and I in particular, because Judy I think is still writing for Seth Rudetsky, Seth and James. Do you write for them?
Oh no, I don't write for them.
Okay. But they are doing things every day for the Actors Fund, and I bring it up every once in a while. Let's see, right there, Actors Fund, two organizations that I think do help performers. The Actors Fund, which you can give at actorsfund.org or BroadwayCares.org, Broadway Cares Equity Fights AIDS, which has helped, but even their resources are limited compared to the sheer vast number of performers and theater workers who are all out of work.
Right.
And we don't know when.
And the comics have done one for the people who work in the comedy clubs. And then they did one that is for comics who are up and coming, who make less than $70,000 a year doing stand-up. So they can and so they can keep their livelihood going. And I'm thinking, so it's sort of like you're in the middle, you're out of this league, but I'm not rich by any stretch of the imagination.
And money's not coming in for any of us.
And it's also like, I don't want to take from other people. And I am okay right now, but it's like, God only knows. Who the fuck knows what's going to happen? And it's like, and all these, the other thing is everyone, I hate the government. I hate the government, but you're willing to fucking cash your check, bitches. So shut the fuck up.
Welcome to socialism.
Let me ask the two of you because I
like this side better.
Yeah, all right. She found her good side. Mm-hmm. You guys have done a show together, of course, the Judy and Varla show.
Look how good Varla looks in that, and I look so awful.
Well, then you might like this one a little bit better. How's that one?
Oh, I like that one. That one's good.
Oh, well, there you go. Because it's that good side.
Yeah.
How did you two come together to actually put an evening together? Obviously you knew each other for years, but I think the show packaging is brilliant.
Well, my first summer in Provincetown, I would put on my makeup at the post office behind the curtain, and Judy would do her show at 7. I'd be at 8:30. So I would listen to Judy night after night after night. And I could not do a show like that. It's so much improv. Like Judy, one night, if she just wants to go off on one person in the audience, she would do it for an hour. And can do it and still make it just as entertaining. I love the talent of that. I to learn a lot about comedy because I had not been. I had just started. I had quit my job in '98, and so I really hadn't been around comics. I hadn't been around showbiz, and there I was 6 nights a week. Because remember we had to do 6 nights a week.
We did 6 shows, and Phyllis. How many? You got to get outside and fly.
Phyllis has been watching these shows. So hi to Phyllis.
Hi, Phyllis.
She's still alive.
Hi, Phyllis.
We
Phyllis
all owe a lot to Phyllis.
Phyllis was fucking awesome, and I got so much stage time. I recorded my first album there at the post office.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, those were the days. So
how did you two, though, decide to do the Varla and Judy show or Judy and Varla show? What is the billing?
Oh, probably Varla and Judy. Anyway.
Callie suggested it. He thought it would be a good idea.
Was it Mark?
He had a night at the Space Rented in Boston. He wanted to put something together, and he thought we would just be good to sell, and just to bring people in. But we had fun.
We had first of all, we have a lot in common, which is quite unusual since we're so from different backgrounds. But I think the mutual respect. I also think in that show, we do some things together and then we do some things separately. And we were talking after we did it at the Huntington in Boston. It was like, we get to do our favorite bits. Right. We don't have to fill a full hour and, do things that, maybe I'd like to change that. Or, it's like we get to pick our favorite half hour, whatever. And do that, plus do all our stuff together, plus play the clarinet. It's so, and Varla.
So much easier to share billing. Oh my God.
But it's so fucking funny. And Varla's character and my character, for some reason, work really well together.
Well, you're also big fans of each other and great audiences. I mean, I think that there are performers that sit there like, impress me. And then there are performers that really love other performers. I think you guys are those.
I also think that we love what we do,
Yeah. Well, that comes through.
Like, believe me, if I could just get through this.
Oh!
And then when it goes wrong, you have somebody to laugh about it with.
Right.
There's nothing more fun than there's nothing more fun than bombing and then laughing afterwards with someone who knows exactly what it was like.
Okay, there's nothing fun about bombing, Billy. What the fuck are you talking about?
I have some of the funniest moments because they've been so disastrous if you don't laugh.
Right.
I bombed on an RSVP cruise.
No.
Oh my God. I bombed.
How can you bomb on an RSVP cruise?
Well, because a video projector and it didn't work during the show. And there was a lot of video. And so just the sound was coming out. And then I was flustered and angry. And I bombed not once, twice because it had a 7 and an 8:30. I mean, it was horrible. I had to go to therapy over it because it totally.
No way.
I was reading Martha Graham quotes. No, it was bad. It was really bad. It was right when I started. And it really messes with your head. And then you have that fear the next time you come out that it's going to happen again. And then almost a long time.
That's why you learn so much from having shitty shows that it's, because nothing, and in the end, nothing scares you. You're like, I've been there, done that. I did an RSVP cruise where, I'm not kidding, all of a sudden the fucking fire alarm goes off. Okay. And then the lights go out and there's one generator light like in the theater. And then the fucking captain comes on. He's like, hey, everyone, we have a small fire. Please stay in place. Everything's fine. And, we'll be. And I did the show and it was so it was one of my best shows. I don't know how the fuck I did a show with one fucking light on the stage. Yeah. In the middle of
one of my best shows was when in Provincetown on July 4th, there was a brownout and it happened constantly. Well, the computer's hooked up. And so every time it would go down, the computer would crash and they'd have to reboot it every time. And so it would be between each thing. And so I just started an Indian accent telling him how to do the computer. Oh my God. Yeah. You think of the times you bombed. I remember an audience, like I don't do a lot of audience participation like Judy does, but one night I did this thing where I would say, is anybody here with their husband? No, has anyone been married? I changed it to, is anybody here with their husband? Has anyone been married? And usually I would love, because somebody will raise their hand on this side of the room and someone this side, but they're together. They're just not sitting together, which is comedy gold.
Oh, God, yeah.
two people raised their hands. So I thought, obviously, they're together. And then I said, so where's your husband? He died yesterday.
Oh, I get that all the time. I came here to laugh.
It got worse because he's not on mic. The guy's not on mic. So then you hear people say, he died yesterday. He died yesterday. I had one. I said there was one guy in the front row once, and he was wearing sunglasses. And he looked like, oh, I think I'm so fucking cool, right? So the whole time he's wearing sunglasses. And finally, I'm like, what the fuck? You know, I go, what the fuck? You think you're so fucking cool? You can't like take. And then I look down and I see a cane. And I was like, oh, oh, God.
Oh, my God.
I have to go. Miss Coco's calling.
You have to go.
Say hello to Coco.
I will. I'll tell her.
And we will have her on in another couple of weeks. She's on the books.
I'll tell her.
Varla, we love you. I'm going to stay with Judy.
All right, bye. I love you.
Love you, Judy. Get well.
Thank you.
Bye, sweetheart.
Wait, Billy, I have to plug I'm only on 13%. Hold on.
Oh, Jesus.
Wait, now I'm going to bring you with me.
Oh, we're going to get to see Judy.
I'm going to move. Now I'm going to move down to the other end of the sofa here. And I'm so sorry. Here's the plug.
That's all right, my darling.
And here we go. Yeah. Okay. I'm here.
No. Okay, so I have to tell you now, one of my most vivid memories of seeing you perform. When I moved to LA, so I guess 22 years ago, I'd been going out for years, but I didn't move till then. And I used to go to the Comedy Store. Mitzi would always have a lot of the new people. You could go any night, stand in the back of the room. You weren't going to get on. If you did get on, it was like 2 a.m. And there was a great camaraderie of a lot of us that just were there every night, hanging out, talking. And two of my best friends, I'll show a picture, were Cheryl Vendetti and Hilda Vincent.
Oh, yeah.
And so we were, I think Hilda maybe performed the night that you were there. And there were a lot of really not great performers that night. It was like a midweek, like a 10 at night. And I'd never seen you perform stand-up. I knew you, and you came on stage and literally, I use this phrase in the most loving way, sucked all of the oxygen out of the room. And it was like whether it was 3 people passed out or Madison Square Garden, you had the same energy, and you basically throttled them until they sounded like Madison Square Garden. It was the most unbelievable thing I've ever seen on stage.
Oh, thank you, Billy.
Where does that come from? The idea that
the relentlessness, I don't know. I was thinking about this yesterday because I posted my high school photo, and everyone's like,
hold on, we've got it here. Hold on, we've got it. Where the hell is it? Here it is. There you go.
Well,
very Joan Baez.
Very fucking Jew Baez. Anyway, if you knew that, like that photo, I was like, oh, you were so pretty. I was fucking taunted from the minute I walked in that school. It was constant. It was just being humiliated and being, teased and bullied but inside of me, I was like, I'm out of here. And I'm, there's life after this. I don't know how, but
knew that. Wow.
Yes. There was something. And so I had dreams. And so I think when you have been humiliated so much that nothing is, I'm a nudge and nothing, I'm going to be like, come on, you fuckheads. Let's go. This is hilarious. You're being an asshole, and
so you really knew you were right. They were wrong. They didn't get it.
Yeah. And I don't know how I did, because of course there were some days where I was like, I would look at myself or in a picture or something and be like, all right, I can see why they're picking on me. I mean, I was gigantic. But
you were how tall are you?
6'3". I was like 6'2.5", whatever. But it was, I'm in New Jersey, in the suburbs, but I also think I had older parents, and my mother grew up in Manhattan, and I knew there was a world beyond and yeah. And it was very cliquey, and they were small-minded, but I knew I was getting out, and I loved New York, and it was, I don't know, I had something inside of me that I still have. I can be, my podcast is like Kill Me Now, and I'm so like, I'm always whining, complaining, but you can't be that negative of a person and still continue to, trug along in show business, because it's 90. And I think that's why, constantly getting rejected, I'm so used to it. It has no effect on me. It's like, okay, fine. But
I remember when I started, I remember that it was, it's funny. I started in Boston, and it was easy because it was the home court audience. They were my people. I knew them. That's so deceiving once you get on the road and you realize they don't know me and they don't think I'm so cute.
Right.
And I remember Joan Rivers was one of my big mentors. And
same.
I had called her from the road, and I told her about a terrible show. And she's like, well, you know what you got to do? Got to get back up there tomorrow and talk and acknowledge it, own it, and make it work for you. And it took a really long time to realize what that meant, to really make it personal. Right. Your instinct is to not make it personal, to not let it touch you. But if it doesn't, you can't make it funny.
Right. And also you have to be brutally honest, because that's the only funny thing. You can tell when someone's making shit up or not, or being a character that they're not invested in. Sure. And it's, I am one of the, I went on the road. I decided I'm only going to be funny if I go to the places that are that I'm not safe in. And I wanted to get more stage time. So I did. I went on the fucking road, and I lived in these shitty hotels or condos and traveled by myself. And
gross.
And I
played every toilet.
Gross. But that's how I learned how to suck the fucking life out of a room, because everything was against me, Right. But it was,
and also you're a great writer, and this is something that you shared with Bob Smith, our friend. I loved Bob, as I know you did, but I always felt that he was more of a writer than a performer.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And I remember he before he had written his first book, there was always a disconnect between what he performed on stage, and as performers, you can see through that and actually see this is brilliant material.
Yeah. Right.
And I said to him, don't take offense to this, but you are a brilliant writer, and you're a better writer than you are a performer. He's like, I love writing more than performing. And I said, there you go. That's where it is.
Yeah. But it's also, there's some comics who are better writers than performers, but that the perfect storm of good writing and great performing is, you can't beat that. But Bob was very, pedantic, and, his stuff is so brilliant. It's so, absolutely. And his books are brilliant. And,
oh my God.
But he wasn't an actor. He wasn't a performer.
But you see, now you have both, because your writing is so authentic to your persona. There's not a disconnect at all there. And in a way, even with the show about your mother, embracing what drove you crazy.
Right.
And sort of realizing this is part of me.
Right. You can't avoid things. If you're going to be a comedian, you can't avoid things. I think if you're going to be a good performer, you have to really deal with the shit too. And good joke writing really comes from, you got to tell a story. Like you were talking about what we can say now and what we can't say. Huh. But there's also this, and with social media now, people can get on a soapbox and say, oh, I went and saw her and she said this, and take it completely out of context. Right. And then everyone hates you. Or they'll take a snippet of something, which is why most comedy clubs are not allowing people to have phones and, and it's kind of ruining stand-up,
I agree.
And it's comics, when you write, this, Billy, when you write something and you get on stage, you don't know where the line is until you've crossed it.
Right.
Then you're like,
going to cross it.
Right. That's the only way to write a good joke is, okay, how far can I go? If you cross it, you bring it back. But the only way to know is to perform it and to do it in front of an audience.
Right. So you can't ask your friends, because I will ask friends that will say, you can't say that.
Right.
And I say, no, I think I can, but you
can't ask friends. You have to ask comic. Like, we think so much different. But the other thing is, it's the only art form where you don't know if it's good unless there are people listening to it. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you can sit and paint, you can sit and write, but the process, the writing and the painting part of it is done in front of people.
Right. And you have to, it's one of the few art forms you have to fail. You have to practice in front of an audience.
And that's what those sets are. Like, when people get on stage in New York and they're doing, they're at their home club doing a 20-minute set, that's for us. It's for you guys, but that's our process. And if you take that and, oh my God, I was so offended. They said, it's like, shut the fuck up. I don't go to your house and eat your fucking dinner and say it tasted like shit and then go tell everyone,
But you might.
Yeah, that's true.
But now I think that what you're saying also is interesting today, because we're seeing these late night shows coming back from people's homes without an audience, without that chemistry. And you're seeing who can work in a vacuum and who can't. And I think it's really, as well as I do, people are just saying, yeah, it's not funny. They don't know how hard it is to be funny to nobody.
Right.
It's really tough.
Right. And it's like, I'll say something, it'll crack me up and I'll think it's funny and I'll write it down. But then I have to bring it on stage.
And perform it.
Right. And, most of these shows, like you saw did you watch SNL?
I did. Yeah.
And so they always, I don't know if people know this, regularly, they have a dress rehearsal show at like. Which they tape at like 8 or 9, whatever, 8 o'clock. Mm-hmm. And it's a little longer than the live show. Right. And then they take a break and they do the live show. And in that dress rehearsal, that informs them whether they're going to cut a bit or a line or whatever.
In front of an audience.
Right. Even SNL has, does that. So it's, people don't understand that. And also, here's the other thing. It's a sense of humor, okay? Right. It's a sense. So some people like sarcasm, some people don't. If you don't like it, then fucking change the channel or turn it off. You don't have to watch it, but you don't have to vilify the person who is, performing.
Well, we'll go... This sort of is connected, but I'd had the story, I don't know, about a month ago about the Woody Allen memoir that was going to be published by the same publishing house that Ronan Farrow.
Yeah.
Okay, so my feeling was civilians, if they want to protest, that's one thing. I don't appreciate it, but fine. But somebody who is a newsman who makes his living exposing things, how can you try to censor somebody else from giving his story?
Right. It's
because it's a slippery slope.
Right. And he was like, I don't want to work with you if you're going to, and okay. And that's your choice. But then
the person.
Right. But then the court, that's where it gets sticky, is when it's a corporation is involved. And that's why with all this social media and, when you work for a network, you're kind of owned by them, You
are, right.
You're off camera persona. They still want to be like, don't make any waves. You're on our show, especially a network.
Well, so then apropos of that, one of your big writing gigs was writing for Rosie O'Donnell.
That's right.
And there you are with Ro. There's another one. Pretty. Everybody's
I've known her forever. I knew her before anyone knew her.
So when you're writing for somebody who is more or less a cog in a corporation where you are beholden to sponsors, network brass, producers, how do you stay free and authentic to her voice while still playing the game? That seems to me very hard.
Well, when I wrote and I was a producer on that show, it was pre-social media. So that's number one. Number two, when you write on a show, you have to write in that person's voice. That's it. So I could separate what jokes would work for me and a lot of them overlapped. And I would, of course, write jokes that were really apropos for her. And for daytime
on television, right?
Right. Yeah. So it was daytime. For some reason, only women can work in daytime.
Yeah, right.
and at night, I mean, we had to have jokes written by 7:30 in the morning. And I would literally, and we'd be in the office till 6:30 at night, whatever. Some people longer. And you cannot do this is the other thing. You can't be great at stand-up unless you continually do it. It's like going to the gym. Your muscles get weak, which is why this is the longest period I have not done stand-up in over 30 years. So I don't know what the fuck I'm going to sound like when I can't wait. But anyway, I would go and take the first spot at the clubs at 8 o'clock or 8:05 and then go home and go to sleep.
Just to stay sharp.
To stay, yeah, to keep in shape. But when you're writing and you're getting paid and you're representing another show, that's your job. You know what I mean? And it becomes not about you. It becomes about, do I want this job? And if I do, these are the parameters I have to work around. So when, Ronan Farrow is like, all right, well, if you're going to put his book out, I'm not going to work with you. They said, okay, well, we want you more than we want him. It's just, I don't know. I believe in freedom of speech. I believe if you don't hear the haters, it's like what's that Baptist church that's so anti-gay? Phelps, right? Westboro. Yeah. If you shut them down, then they can say, let's shut down the Jesuit priest. You know what I mean? It's like
I went through this. I remember vividly, I think one of the few times Hyannis had Cape Cod Pride. I hosted every crappy Pride festival. I love you, Hyannis. But I was there and they had one picketer that was out on the corner picketing. I kept making jokes about him and waving, asking if he wanted a soda. I was playing. And everybody got mad at me and said, why are you calling attention to him? I said, if he has the right to picket, I have to embrace that because I may want to picket someone else.
Right.
So
I'm not
stopping him.
A good comic acknowledges the elephant
what's in the room.
Yeah.
Right. And eventually, he just got tired of hearing me talking about him, and he left. And it's
of course.
Who won? I mean,
and the nicer you are to them, it's like, hi, oh my God, how's your arm? Does your arm hurt?
Take a photo, a selfie.
Right.
No, that's why in Ronan Farrow, I had no problem with him decrying the book.
Right.
I had a problem. I had a problem with him sort of strong-arming the publisher because I felt it's not fair, but I got it as somebody in the industry. I get it. I get that he's more popular right now, but the idea that he and his sister kind of rallied this boycott and employee walkout and protest, I'm like, I just had a real big problem with that because now I feel you're using your position to censor someone from his side. Meanwhile, their mother Mia did write a book and no one had a problem with her telling her side.
Right. It's
you
You can't say that some speech is protected and other speech isn't protected, you know?
And I think that is the job of comedians, really.
Right. And I think
your
that's
social
why
commentators as well.
And that's why Trump can't have a comic he hates the White House Correspondents' Center.
Right.
Because you have to be, self-aware and semi-intelligent to understand a joke. And also, he can't deal with being fodder for satire. And that's what makes this country great, is satire, is that we can tell the truth in so many different ways. And comics are the last truth tellers, which is why people want to shut us up.
Right. And I think that when you look at what Michelle Wolf did, I thought if he were bright, which we know he's not, if he were bright, he would have sat there and laughed. And look how Obama.
Oh my God. Can I tell you something? Billy, sure. You know this. If they did a skit about Billy Masters, Zoom, StreamYard, whatever, if they did a fucking thing about, hey, today it's Billy Masters, and they were making fun of you on Saturday Night Live, you'd be over the fucking moon.
Thrilled.
Right. If they did Judy Gold is so annoying, whatever, I'd be like, oh my God, I made it.
A Judy Gold character.
Yeah.
Well, I remember, it's like Barbara Walters when Gilda would do Baba Wawa, and she used to cringe, and her daughter came in once laughing at it, and Barbara said, well, how can you watch that? And the daughter said, Ma, just lighten up. And, that is the bottom line.
Right.
The View was made by those skits on Saturday Night Live. That's when they took off.
If the fact that you're important enough to be the topic of satire on SNL, that is a pretty good indication that you made it.
I would agree. All right, so let's talk about the book again. When is it coming out? Allegedly.
It comes out in July. It's called Yes, I Can Say That. When they come for the comedians, we're all in trouble. And it gives a history of how we got to the point where we could say whatever the fuck we wanted, and how we're at this point now where everyone's insulted over every goddamn little thing. And it's a fast read. It's very informative. It's totally in my voice.
Did you do an audiobook as well?
I'm doing that in June.
Of course you are. Because while we're sitting home,
I don't know much more I can take of this. I want to kill Elisa. She's so fucking moody. Well, she went on a bike ride, so maybe she'll be nice on the way. It's like, I'm sick. Okay. Can you just be nice 5 minutes? And, my one son is in Connecticut at his girlfriend's family's house. So we FaceTime a lot. And then my other son's here with his girlfriend, and he goes, my ex lives down the street with her wife. So they go back and forth.
Oh, so they're able to see both. Good.
Yeah. And we had Passover together, all of us. And, it's been fine, but it's like, when the fuck are we going to be back to normal? And what is normal going to be?
Well, we don't know. And I think it's going to be a lot longer than people are thinking.
No one's going to want to go out until there's a vaccine. That's the thing.
Even if they say go out, you're not I have a friend that said, the minute we're unquarantined, I can't wait to go to Disney World. I'm like, Disney World?
Ew.
With germs from around the world all in one place? No.
And comedy
Nothing
clubs,
against the Disney Corporation, of course.
The comedy clubs, it's all people laughing and spitting and, mouths open. I mean, and we need comedy now more than ever.
And we need people laughing without masks.
Right. Exactly. So you can fucking see that they're smiling.
Thank you. Judy, I adore you. Thank you for doing this.
Billy, you made me feel so much better. I love you so much.
I love you. I hope we're going to get to see each other again soon.
Yes,
but if not, we've got this. If we get this, we'll have you again. We're just going to look. We have to entertain ourselves.
Yes.
Make it up. So at first, when I started doing it, people said, "Oh, this isn't right." I said, we're all fucking making it up as we go along.
The fuck up. And
what are you doing, bitch?
Yeah, I'm going to be doing some human interest stuff with Seth and James. I was supposed to start last week, but then I'm so sick and I can't fucking do anything.
No, and what they're doing, look, they're doing 2 shows a day. I don't know how they do. I'm doing 2 a week. I'm exhausted.
I know. I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they do it.
They are superhuman. I'm going to remind people, go to actresfund.org if you want to give to somebody. Judy, what's your website?
Checking account number, Chase checking account number, one. No, judygold.com, JUDYGOLD.
And the podcast
is Kill Me Now. I have Laura Prepon on this week and next week.
Oh,
and
great.
Find me on social. I'm at Judy Gold, JEWDYGOLD.
Oh, you're so Jewish.
I'm a Jew.
And of course, and I'm at BillyMasters.com. Thursday, Fran Drescher.
I love Fran.
Fun. Yeah, she'll be fun. And then next Tuesday, Jennifer Lewis.
Wow.
So, yeah, so this has been really fun. We've been having a lot of fun.
Good for you. I'm on Better Things this Thursday.
Are you?
Yeah.
That's again, talk about brilliant writing.
Oh, Pam Adlon is a fucking genius.
No, we need strong, independent voices.
Right.
And the strongest independent voice I know, Judy Gold, thank you again for doing it.
Thank you, Billy.
Fingers crossed that you don't have anything.
Oh, I'm praying. I mean, not that does anything.
No, I'm praying, please. I love you. Thank you, Judy.
I love you. Take care. Be well.
Thank you. Everyone out there, be well. We love you. Thanks for watching. We will see you Thursday, 3 p.m. Eastern. Fran Drescher. Stay safe. Bye-bye, guys.